Okay, everyone, it's Byron again. We're back here looking at Romans chapter 4. I'm going to include verses 9 through 12 in this reading. I don't know how many parts we'll have on this, and just for your benefit, one day the Lord showed me, and this was in a dream, but the Lord showed me to feed people a pie, but the pie was cut into pieces. So you may think, well, why are you making so many short videos? Well, it's literally because I saw God show me to break them down into small pieces, and that's what I'm trying to do. I don't want to overwhelm someone. I could easily just try to blow through stuff and maybe not get as much benefit as really trying to look at it and see what all it can see. And I'm not pretending that I know everything about this, but I know a few things, and those few things that I do know I can share. So let's read Romans chapter 4, verse 9 through 12. Cometh this blessedness then upon the circumcision only, or upon the uncircumcision also? For we say that faith was reckoned to Abraham for righteousness. How was it then reckoned? When he was in circumcision or in uncircumcision? Not in circumcision, but in uncircumcision. And he received the sign of circumcision, a seal of the righteousness of the faith, which he had yet been uncircumcised, that he might be the father of all them that believe, though they be not circumcised, that righteousness might be imputed unto them also, and the father of circumcision to them who are not of circumcision only, but who also walk in the steps of that faith of our father Abraham, which he had being yet uncircumcised. Now, one of the first things that I think about is that in a previous session, we talked about the old paths, and I mentioned that Abraham's walk, if you had a map and you could see all the routes that he walked when he was called out by God, you could basically sum them all up by saying he walked by faith or by faith. And that's kind of what I think about again when I see here. But I think sometimes it may be important to just show exactly how Paul arrived at his definition or at what he said. And what I want to do is just go back into the Old Testament and see what happened that led Paul to be able to say Abraham was accounted righteous before he was circumcised. So that would not be a work of the law, as it could be said, but it was a work of faith. So let's go there and see where that happened and read a little bit of it. Okay, we're going to look at Genesis 15:6, but just to try to keep some context, I want to read 5 and 6. And it says, And he brought him forth, he being the Lord, and said, Look now toward heaven, and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, So shall thy seed be. And he believed in the Lord, and Abraham believed in the Lord, and he, the Lord, counted it to him for righteousness. Now that's where Paul is getting his statement that he made there in Romans. And we can see through the other scriptures that we've been through how this is piecing together. Now we're going to go and see the point where Abraham was circumcised. And let's just look and see, okay, how did that situation look in the Bible as it reads? Okay, this is going to be in Genesis 17, and I've gone ahead and decided to try to put a whole context together down to the point of the covenant of circumcision. I don't read that well, but bear with me. Let me get through this as quickly as possible in this reading. And when Abram was 90 years old and 9, so he's 99 years old, the Lord appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am the Almighty God. Walk before me, and be thou perfect. And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly. And Abram fell on his face, and God talked with him, saying, As for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham. For a father of many nations have I made thee. And I will make thee exceedingly fruitful, and will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee, and thy seed after thee in their generations, for an everlasting covenant, to be a God unto thee, and to thy seed after thee. And I will give unto thee and to thy seed after thee the land wherein thou art a stranger, all the land of Canaan for an everlasting possession, and I will be their God. And God said unto Abraham, Thou shalt keep my covenant, therefore, thou and thy seed after thee in their generations. This is my covenant which ye shall keep between me and you and thy seed after thee. Every man child among you shall be circumcised, and ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant between me and you. So you can see, initially, Abraham believed God, and God counted it to him for righteousness in chapter 15. Then God came back and said, Abraham, we're going to make a covenant. And Abraham's 99 years old at this point. And this covenant is between you and me and your seed. I'm going to give you generations of people. I'm going to be their God. And what I expect you to do is circumcise the flesh of your foreskin and every male child that's there. That's an outward sign of this promise that I'm giving you. So let's go back to what the points Paul's making while we're way over here. Looking at all this stuff, it's like, Byron, are we lost or what? Okay, here's why we're here. Paul had referred back to Genesis 16, which you can see there in the red, to the statement that was written, and he believed in the Lord, and he counted it to him for righteousness. And why did we go and look at all that stuff? Because Paul's asking the question. He's just basically telling us, do you understand what happened back there? And he says, how was it reckoned? When he was in circumcision or in uncircumcision? Not in circumcision, but in uncircumcision. Remember Genesis 15:6, which is up there circled in red. That happened 2 chapters before the circumcision. And the circumcision happened at Abraham's when he was 99 years old. And then down to Romans 4:11. And he received the sign of circumcision, a seal of righteousness of the faith, which he had yet being uncircumcised, that he might be the father of all them that believe, though they be not circumcised, that righteousness might be imputed unto them also. So we're going to stop there for today, and we'll pick back up on part number 2 of this Romans chapter 4, verse 9 through 12 at another session.